Welcome to Wellness Tools Reconsidered, a series of conversations that explores how established wellness practices get better when we add an understanding that cuts down on the effort. This installment focuses on positive psychology and goal setting, reliable, well-known methods people use to skillfully handle their feelings, manage tension, and deal with everyday life. These methods are effective, no question about it. The simple but often missed point we're discussing is, how is the process changed, and how do the tools feel easier to use when you grasp the true origin of your difficulty? This isn't a manual or a collection of new techniques. It's a thoughtful talk about insight, the amount of effort required, and how the work you already do can feel less demanding without needing to switch out your practices.
So, you know the feeling. You set the big goals, you're doing the gratitude journal, all of it. You're applying all the best practices for high performance.
All the right things.
Exactly. But there's still that lingering feeling, like you're just white-knuckling your way through your own life.
Yeah.
Today we're going to dig into why that happens. We're looking at the tools we all trust, positive psychology, goal setting, and asking a tough question.
If they work so well, why does it sometimes feel so exhausting?
Right. It's this paradox. And to unpack it, we're looking at a couple of sources. There's an article on sustainable growth and then some really key insights from a book called The Lens That Changes Everything.
And just to be clear, our mission here isn't to give you another hack.
No, not at all. It's more about exploring a shift in perspective, moving from what we'll call downstream effort to upstream clarity.
Which is so important. But first, we have to start by validating the tools. I mean, if you're listening to this, you probably already have a lot of respect for them.
Absolutely. They aren't just fluff.
They're the gold standard for a reason.
Okay, so let's start with positive psychology. What's its unique contribution? It basically flipped the entire script on how we look at the human mind.
It did. For decades, psychology was all about pathology, about what's broken.
Fixing problems.
Exactly. And positive psychology just came along and said, wait, what if we focus on what's possible instead? It's a huge buffer against our natural negativity bias.
It proves we aren't defined by our deficits.
Right. But by our potential. It's a massive, necessary shift.
Okay, so then you've got goal setting. If positive psychology is the map, goal setting is what? The engine.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
It's how you turn an idea and intention into something real.
Into action. It gives you clarity, a way to track progress, and I think this is the big one, a sense of agency.
100%. It reinforces that feeling that you are in the driver's seat.
Right.
So we have to establish that these things work. They build momentum.
They do. But, and this is the big pivot in the sources, even when you're doing it all sincerely, there's often this familiar tension. You're hitting your targets, you're reframing your thoughts, but it all feels heavy.
Like if you stop paying attention for 1 second, the whole thing just slides backward.
Yes. That's what the sources call the effort problem. It's this self-help loop. You end up relying totally on willpower, on discipline, to just force a change.
You're constantly managing the output.
And the argument is that this happens because we're working almost entirely downstream. We're trying to police our actions without ever looking at where they actually come from.
And this is where the lens that changes everything introduces a mechanism. It's called BTSDO.
Okay, break that down for us.
It stands for belief, which leads to thought, which leads to speech and deed, and all that creates the outcome.
So belief, thought, speech, deed equals outcome. It's like a production line for our experience.
Exactly. Now think about where positive psychology and goal setting usually jump in.
At the deed or the thought stage, right? We try to force better habits or reframe negative thinking.
Precisely. But those are way down the assembly line.
So you're intervening halfway through.
You are. And if the belief that upstream origin is misaligned, it doesn't matter how much you polish things downstream. You're just fighting the current of your own programming.
The book uses this car analogy that it made everything click for me.
It's the perfect way to see it. Okay, so imagine you're driving a car, but the alignment is bad. The car naturally pulls hard to the right.
Okay.
Now, can you keep that car in the lane?
Sure, yeah. You just have to grip the steering wheel really tight and constantly pull it back to the left.
And that's the downstream work. That's using goal setting to correct a drift. It works. From the outside, the car looks like it's going straight.
But inside, you're just completely exhausted. It's constant strain.
Because you're fighting the vehicle's natural tendency. And if you let go for even a second,
you're off the road. And that's why so many of us feel that fatigue We're using discipline to compensate for a structural problem.
So the upstream idea isn't to stop driving the car.
No, it's to fix the alignment.
Yes, that's the insight from the lens. When you address the upstream origin, the belief causing the pull, you fix the alignment. Now, you still use the steering wheel, you still have goals.
But the strain is gone.
The friction just disappears. The goals suddenly feel lighter. They feel like an expression of who you are, not a correction of who you're afraid you might be.
That distinction.
Mm.
Wow. It's subtle, but it's massive. It changes the whole texture of the work.
And that's the integration. This insight doesn't replace positive psychology. It creates the environment where those amazing tools can finally work without all that friction.
And if this is sparking something for you, that book, The Lens That Changes Everything, is actually available for free through the Creative Humanity Alliance. We'll drop a link in the notes.
I think the final thought here is really one of recognition. If you feel that exhaustion, it's not a personal failure of discipline. It's probably just a structural misunderstanding.
When the lens changes, the work doesn't get harder. It just gets lighter. Thanks for diving in with us.
See you next time.
As we close, it's worth saying clearly, insight doesn't replace tools. What it changes is the relationship to them. When struggle is understood not as a personal failure, but as something that formed for understandable reasons, effort often softens. The tools you already trust begin to feel more supportive and less corrective. If you already use these practices, there's nothing new you need to adopt. This conversation is simply an invitation to see the work differently and to notice what changes when recognition replaces constant management.